Okay, boys and girls, this is the update to the LS3 525 Connect and Cruise install on the 87 SS Monte Carlo. This is the fuel system plumbing. The goal here is to make the car look as if it was born with this. First thing that we have is the sending unit here. You can see the gas tank. I was able to purchase one from BRPHotRods.com. Essentially looks the same. And here's their address. Okay. Just a couple modifications. You can see where this nipple is right here. Those have to be cut off in order to be able to get quick disconnect lines on there. So to do that, you had to modify this sending unit, cutting off these lines right here. You can see how that looks. It's exactly 3/4 of an inch from here to there on both of them. One's a 5/16 and one's a 3/8. And then you have a quick disconnect that slides over that like this. Then it just screws into the quick disconnect fitting on your hose. The other thing you had to modify was this wiring harness right here. Okay, you had to splice that in on the sending unit with some butt connectors and some heat shrink. Okay, not too bad, but just word of caution, those are some things that you have to do. So that'll go down in the fuel tank like this and take the place of the unit that's in there. If you look here, you're going to have this hose coming out and this one coming out. So I'm using a quick disconnect, a 90 here for the 5/16 and a 45 for the 3/8. And that's to lay these black hoses that I'm going to show you here in a minute down through here. Okay, so that takes care of that. So here's a quick disconnects right here, the 90 and the 45, and you make up those hose ends here, and you run them all the way down to your fuel filter. You use this end right here on the end of your hose, you put that on there, and see it just screws on to this fuel filter. Okay, so then you need these two ends right here to go onto the fuel filter. Then after the fuel filter connection to the hose from the fuel tank, you've got to get them to the motor, and this is the other fitting. It just pops and clicks in there, and then you'll have another threaded end here. You hook the hose back, shove the hose back in there, and make another union there, and that screws on. So what we need to do is move from there. You need another fitting, and this is for your fuel gauge. You can see this fitting right here. What it does is it has a correct thread for a fuel gauge, which is this, and you just screw that into there. But you need a stainless steel line that comes out, a 6-foot line. It's about $40. I don't have it yet, to put this inside the car. That allows you to put this inside the car. So you hook that line to that. So you'll have this same end in the hose wherever you decide to put this fitting, and you'll screw that in there. I do not have the male end that goes into here that gets you back to the hose yet. So that's one fitting I don't have. But I'll summarize with the fitting part numbers here in just a second. Okay, so after you get past the gauge, you run the hose all the way down the fuel rail, the frame rail on the car, and you'll need this 45, which goes to your hose like this, and it'll screw on to a quick disconnect on the motor. So what I'm going to do now is give you, that's how it's laid out. You need these two here like this. You need this here like this. You need that screwed on there. You need to run your hose up further. Put this on your hose. Put the fitting for the fuel pressure gauge in there. Then you run on up to the engine. So here's what the quick disconnect numbers are. Okay, the quick disconnects back here. Quick disconnects back here are a 61, 12, 13, and a 61, 12, 73. That's at the fuel sending unit. If you look inside there, you got directions on how to make that work. Each one of those Russell fittings have these little directions inside that'll help you. Show you how it works. Okay. You have numerous 610 025s. We'll count those before we're done here. Those are the ones that goes to the end of the fuel filter and continues down the hose as you go. Again, they're 610 025. Okay. So you've got two 610 025s right here. Goes to the fuel filter. And then you've got these ends that go onto the fuel filter. They're just push on. And again, they have directions. Okay, so you need two of those. One's a 5/8, one's a 3/16. So there's a 640, 863, and a 640, 853. That's to the back of the fuel filter here. Okay. The fuel filter is a Wix. There's a part number for it. Just under $40 on Amazon. You can find a lot of this stuff on Amazon. Alright. And there it is. You take this end off here. You end up with this. Well, when you look this up on Amazon, they'll have a suggested fit this fitting. I don't have the part number to it, but when you get that fuel filter looked up on Amazon, this will show up. That just pushes in that hole. Like that. Okay. And then you have another one of these 610 025s that screw onto there. Like so. Then you just hook your hose into that. Okay. So you've got those. You run your hose up over the rear frame rail. It goes between in front of your rear frame rail in front of your differential. Goes up over the back, and you'll be able to send it down the left frame rail of the car where the return line comes from the fuel tank to begin with. You're running right along through there, and as you go, you're going to put this fitting again. There's a 025 to the hose. You're going to screw in your fitting for your fuel gauge right here, and that part number is a 670 343. That's the fuel gauge fitting. And again, you're going to have to buy the stainless steel hose with the fitting ends and a 6-foot length of stainless steel to get it inside the car. You'll have to determine where's the best location. I haven't decided yet, but I want it inside where I can see it. Here's the gauge. It's an Aero Automotive gauge, liquid filled. Allows you to monitor the fuel pressure. Not sure what the part number is on that, but Aero Automotive has that listing, or you can also find it on Amazon. About $40. So you run this hose all the way up through the car, and what you're going to have now after the fuel gauge is you're going to have an end to finish it at the motor. Well, that's this one right here. That's a swivel, and it's got the hose end that just goes into your hose, and then you just attach it to the motor. Okay, that part number there for that swivel, let me see here, is a 613095. Okay, that's the swivel at the motor, 45. That allows you to angle it towards that frame rail so you keep everything out of the way of the heat underneath the brake booster. And then you need this quick disconnect for the motor. This shoves right onto the end of the fuel rail and it clicks on. Okay, so it's a 644 123. And that completes the fuel system. What I'll do is I'll show you an update later once I get the fuel tank up in there and show you what it looks like from there. And then once I get the motor in, I'll show you how I finally hooked it up there. But hopefully that's a big help to you. That's the correct part numbers. It takes a while to figure that out. And again, if you have any comments, let me know. I sure appreciate that and your likes. Please visit me on YouTube. Tell your friends, and I appreciate you taking the time to view the video. Have a great day. Thanks.